What if there was a direction? You couldn't see. You're standing in your bedroom. Nothing looks unusual. The walls are where they've always been. The door hasn't moved. Your bed is exactly where you left it. And yet, overnight, the universe has changed. Not because something disappeared, because something was added. A new direction, not left, not right, not forward, not backward, not up, not down, a completely new way to move. One that has existed since the beginning of the universe. Yet no human has ever been able to see. Would you even notice, or would reality keep its greatest secret hidden in plain sight? It sounds impossible. But over 100 years ago, when one writer asked people to imagine exactly that. Most people know H.G. Wells because of The Time Machine. They think it's a story about traveling into the future. But before anyone travels through time, Wells introduces an idea that still challenges scientists, philosophers, and curious minds today. He suggests that time might not simply be something we measure. It might be another dimension. That sounds confusing. So let's forget time for a moment. Imagine a tiny creature living on a straight line. Its entire universe has only one direction: forward and backward. That's all. If you tried to explain left to this creature, it wouldn't argue with you. It simply couldn't understand. Not because it wasn't intelligent, but because its universe had no such direction. Now imagine another world. This one is completely flat, like a sheet of paper. Everything exists on that surface. Cities, mountains, people. Every creature can move north, south, east, west, but none of them has ever experienced up. One day, you lower your finger through their world. What would they see? Not your whole hand, not your arm, only a tiny circle. It appears from nowhere. It grows larger, then smaller, then vanishes. To them, you've just performed a miracle. They cannot see the rest of you, because most of your body exists outside their reality. This simple idea became famous through a remarkable book called Flatland. On the surface, it's a story about geometry, but underneath, it's really about perception. It asks one unforgettable question. If a two-dimensional creature cannot imagine a third dimension, could humans be making exactly the same mistake? We experience reality through three familiar dimensions: length, width, height. Every journey you've ever taken, every object you've ever touched, every place you've ever visited, fits somewhere inside those three directions. So when someone mentions a fourth dimension, our first reaction is usually the same. Where is it? Why can't I point to it? Why can't I see it? Those are exactly the right questions. This is where H.G. Wells returns. In The Time Machine, he argues that every object doesn't just exist in space, it also exists through time. Think about your favorite childhood toy. There was the toy when it was brand new, the toy as it slowly became worn, and the toy as it exists today. Those aren't separate objects. They're different moments of the same object, like pages in a book. You're only able to read one page at a time. Modern physics later developed the idea of space-time, where time is treated as part of the mathematical description of the universe. That doesn't mean we can walk through time the way we walk through a room. But it does remind us that reality can be stranger than everyday experience suggests. Now let's ask a different question. Suppose, just for a moment, there really was another spatial direction. What would life look like? Imagine a locked room. No doors open. No windows break. No walls move. And yet, someone suddenly appears inside. Impossible? Not necessarily. To a two-dimensional creature, you could remove a coin from its world without tearing the paper. From its point of view, the coin simply vanished. A being able to move through a higher spatial dimension could seem just as impossible to us. Not because of magic, but because it would be moving in a direction we cannot follow. Of course, this is a thought experiment. There is currently no evidence that beings like this exist. But thought experiments have always helped us explore ideas that our everyday experience cannot. History is filled with discoveries that once sounded ridiculous. Invisible radio waves, microscopic bacteria, planets orbiting distant stars. Each of these seemed unbelievable until evidence proved otherwise. That doesn't mean every strange idea is true. It means curiosity is often where discovery begins. Perhaps the most fascinating part of this entire discussion isn't whether another dimension exists. It's what the question reveals about us. Dogs hear sounds we cannot hear. Bees see ultraviolet light. Sharks sense electrical fields hidden beneath the ocean. Every species experiences a different version of reality. Human beings are no exception. Our senses reveal only a tiny slice of the universe. So how can we be certain that we've already discovered everything there is to discover? Maybe the greatest limitation isn't the universe. Maybe it's us. A creature living on a line would never discover left simply by thinking harder. A creature living on a sheet of paper would never invent up through imagination alone. Perhaps humanity faces the same challenge, not because another dimension has been proven to exist, but because reality may be far larger than the part our minds can perceive. More than a century after H.G. Wells invited readers to think differently about space and time, his question still remains. Not, what is the fourth dimension? But what if reality is bigger than the part we can see? And if that's true, what other directions, what other possibilities, what other mysteries have been quietly waiting just beyond the limits of human perception?